Thank you for your interest in volunteering for the Small Claims Court Clinic at Legal Services of Greater Miami. The purpose of this video is to give you a brief overview of what to expect on the night of the clinic and on the Small Claims Court process. On the volunteer page where this video is, you'll also find a link to forms that are used on the night of the clinic. It will be very helpful if you view these forms while I discuss them later in the orientation. The Small Claims Court Clinic is held on the second and fourth Thursday of every month, except for June, July, and August. During these months, we can hold special small claims court clinics for law firms or legal organizations that are interested in sponsoring a clinic, meaning that they are staffed solely by the attorneys in the firm or in the legal organization. If your firm or organization is interested in sponsoring a small claims court clinic, you should call 305-576-0080 and ask to speak to the director of the Small Claims Court Clinic. Each clinic, 25 clients sign up to attend. They're told to arrive by 5 p.m. on the night of the clinic. On the night of the clinic, you should also arrive at 5 p.m. and come to Legal Services of Greater Miami, which is located at 3000 Biscayne Boulevard, Suite 500 in Miami. We also have free parking in the back of our building. After all of the volunteers arrive, an LSGMI attorney will give you a brief orientation on what to expect on the night of the clinic, what to document and go over throughout the client interviews, and give you an idea of the typical cases that we see in the clinic. Food and other refreshments will also be served to the volunteers at the clinic. After the orientation, you will then be given an office where you'll have access to a computer that has internet access, and you'll also have a printer and a copy machine. Additionally, we have Spanish-speaking and Creole-speaking translators that will be available to help you. Over the course of the night, you're going to meet with multiple clients and give them advice and your recommendation as to whether you think their case is appropriate for small claims court. If you think that the case is appropriate for small claims court, then you'll give the client advice about what testimony and documents you think are important for the client to present in their case. You'll also help the clients complete the required forms that are necessary to commence the small claims court action. You'll then give the clients advice on where to file the case, how to serve the defendant, and on the small claims court procedures in general. All advice and services are provided on the night of the clinic, and the clients are told ahead of time that the volunteer attorneys do not represent them and will not be appearing with them in court. However, if you do find that you are interested in one of the client's cases that you see, and you want to represent that client pro bono, let the director of the Small Claims Court Clinic know. Additionally, during the clinic night, an LSGMI attorney will be available at all times to answer questions that come up throughout the evening. Now I'm going to review some of the small claims court processes and the forms that you'll be using during the course of the clinic. The Florida Small Claims Court is a division of county court, and it's for cases in which no more than $5,000 is at issue. Also, the Florida Small Claims Rules of Procedure apply in these cases, and you can quickly find those rules on the Florida Bar website. A small claims court case is commenced by filing a statement of claim. The statement of claim is like a complaint in a regular civil case. Defensive pleadings and motions are not required, but they can be filed if needed. The plaintiff must serve the defendant with a copy of the statement of claim as well as a summons/notice to appear. That document will tell both parties the date, time, and location of the pretrial conference that they must both attend. A pretrial conference will be then scheduled within 50 days of the date of filing of the statement of claim. The purpose of the pretrial conference is to discuss simplification of the issues in the case and possible settlement. If the case does not settle, then the case will be set for trial, and the trial will be set within 60 days from the date of the pretrial conference. If the plaintiff fails to appear at either the pretrial conference or other subsequent proceedings, then the case might be dismissed. If the defendant fails to appear at the pretrial conference or any of the subsequent proceedings, then the defendant may be entitled to a default judgment. The judge will then take evidence on damages and issue a final judgment. If the plaintiff gets a final judgment, then there are mechanisms in place to help the plaintiff collect on the final judgment, including adding language to the final judgment requiring the defendant to complete a fact information sheet which details the income and assets of the defendant that may be available for garnishment or levy. Now I'm going to discuss some of the forms that you'll be using throughout the course of the clinic night. The first form that you will be using is called a case outline sheet. On the case outline sheet, you'll list important facts of the case, whether you think that the case is appropriate for small claims court, who the proper defendant is and their service address, the amount of damages that the plaintiff is seeking, and then you'll also list out the testimony and documents that you think that the plaintiff should submit throughout the course of their case. The next document that you will use in the clinic is the statement of claim form. You'll help the plaintiff fill this out by filling in the plaintiff's name in the appropriate box and the defendant's name and the address where the defendant is to be served. And then you'll check off the appropriate boxes that explain the basis of the claim. You'll fill in the rest, and then you'll note that at the bottom it needs to be notarized. We have a notary on staff who will be able to notarize this document for the clients on the night of the clinic. Another document that we use in the clinic is a summons/notice to appear. You'll notice from the forms that we provide you that there are two different versions. One version is used if the plaintiff is filing a case in the downtown courthouse in Miami. The other form will be used if the plaintiff is going to file in one of the branch court offices. You'll help the plaintiff fill in the boxes where the plaintiff's name goes, where the defendant's name goes, and the address where the defendant is to be served. You'll tell the client in your office that what they'll need to do is take the statement of claim and the summons/notice to appear to their nearest county court and file the statement of claim, and then give the summons to the clerk to complete, where the clerk will fill in the blanks about where the date, time, and location of the pretrial conference will occur. You also need to tell the client that they're going to have to serve a copy of the statement of claim and give us a copy of the summons to the defendant. Another document that you'll be using in the course of the clinic is called an application for determination of civil indigent status. A lot of the clients that we see may be eligible for a waiver of the filing fees associated with small claims court cases. This form you will not fill out with the client. You'll just tell them to take it home and fill it out and to take it with them when they file their statement of claim. They'll give it to the clerk, who will then review it and determine whether the client is eligible for a fee waiver. If they are not eligible for a fee waiver, the clerk will require them to pay the filing fee right then. If they are eligible for the fee waiver, then they do not have to pay. Another form that we give to the client is a final judgment form that is fill in the blank that they can use if they eventually obtain a final judgment. They can have the judge sign this, and then we tell them that they have to give a copy to the defendant and also keep a copy for themselves. The last form that we use in the clinic is called a General Information on Small Claims Court pamphlet. In this pamphlet, it explains to the client information about the filing fees, the branch court offices, how to commence a case, what to expect throughout the course of a small claims court case, and how to collect on a judgment. We give this to the client to use as a resource. That concludes this orientation of the Small Claims Court Clinic. Thank you very much for your interest again in volunteering for the clinic, and we do know that it will be a very rewarding experience for you. If you have any questions about the clinic, just call 305-576-0080 and ask to speak to the director of the Small Claims Court Clinic.